I talked to Giddey as well, and there was not one person more excited about Chet being there than Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey talked about how he said it's kind of weird because they had instant chemistry the first time they touched the floor together in summer league. And he's like, I didn't really understand why. He said, I've always wanted to play with a guy like that. And Giddey was particularly excited about that. Giddey also said that his number one thing that he feels like he's going to be better at this season is getting to the free throw line, which he basically just didn't. He took basically one free throw a game last year. And he said that that's what he wants to improve on, which I think could make Giddey a much better player, because he's one that gets left out a little bit when you're talking about the future of the team. I think obviously Jalen Williams is one that people talk about a lot, Chet and Shea. But if Giddey can learn to get to the free throw line and make free throws, like, it's not out of the question that guy can average 28 and 6 this year. And I think that's not something that people have on their radar quite right now.
Andrew, how much
quick
five?
Follow. Go ahead.
Can I ask a quick? How much five is Chet going to play this year? You think?
I think a lot. I think they're going to try him as the starting five, because I think the thing about Chet is the biggest advantage that you can have with Chet Holmgren is when he plays the five. If he's a 4, he can still be effective and still be a good player, but he's it makes the Thunder a lot more scary if he's their 5. So I think they're going to try it a lot. They don't have a lot of traditional bigs on the team. It's basically him. You have Jay Will, the other Jalen Williams, and then Olivier Sarr. They just don't have a lot of bigs. And I think that's by design. I think they want to play small. They want to play fast. Their team played their best when Kenrich Williams, a 6'6" forward, played center for them last year. And I think they know that. And so they want to stay as small as possible. And if Chet can play center and kind of unlock some things for them, I think that's the ideal situation.
Well, Andrew, the reason I asked that, and I'm glad we're talking about Kenrich Williams's plus minus on the Media Day podcast. Next thing we're going to be talking about
really pulling the listeners in, aren't you, Fred?
Next thing we know, we're going to be talking about Isaiah Joe's plus minus numbers, which are insane. By the way,
yeah,
crazy. Isaiah Joe should have been MVP last year if he just did it based on net rating. The reason I ask about Chet is because you bring up Giddey getting the line, which is also a function of Giddey. Look, a lot of it is just going to be on the fact that, like, Giddey is not a shooter. And if he develops a jump shot and he's trending in the right direction, then it will help a lot, because guys can play a little bit off of him. Yeah. And he has to really fight his way to the rim, right? Like he's making things more difficult for him by not being a guy who teams have to really worry about from beyond the 3-point line. But if you have a guy who isn't like Isaiah Roby at the 5, and they've had, guys who can shoot the 3 at the 5. They've had like Mike Muscala there, and they've gone with weird unconventional lineups. Like they are crazy with the amount of different lineups that Mark Daigneault plays with that team. But do you think, how big is that for Giddey, and how big do the Thunder view that for Giddey, just Chet's ability to play the 5 in terms of his development and his ability to get to the line more, get to the rim more, and kind of excel while being himself?
Yeah, I think it's a huge deal. I mean, they obviously lack shooting, especially in the starting lineup. Shea did not shoot it well from 3 and didn't really take very many threes last year. They need J-Dub to be a legit threat from 3. And then you have Lou Dort, who we know is going to shoot them. Took the most threes on the team last year, same the year before. He's going to take them. Not a very good shooter, not a guy people are going to close out to, not creating space for anybody. So it's really going to be on Chet and J-Dub to be the shooters. And Giddey's good enough of doing everything else. Like, he'll screen and he'll move off ball and he'll get down toward the dunker spot at times. So he can do some stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to be a shooter. Like, you have to be a shooter in this league to make it as far as Josh wants to make it. And he's working hard. They got Chip England there, and they still have hopes that he can be somebody that can at least shoot it well enough, like in like 35, 36% range, and be somebody that you care about. But he's not there yet. And so, yeah, if you have Chet out there that you have to close out to, it changes quite a bit of the geometry on the court for them.